The silence on the other end of the phone lasted 3 seconds. Then Vincent Kincaid spoke again, and his voice had transformed into something that made my blood stop moving. "What did you just say to me?" My fingers were slick with sweat against the phone. Through the office window, I could see the black van's tire marks still smoking on the asphalt. Owen's Spider-Man backpack lying in the street where they'd thrown it. "Your son." My voice cracked. "Owen." Someone just dragged him into a van, right in front of the school. I saw his face, Mr. Kincaid. He was screaming and I couldn't. "How long ago?" Not a question. Command. 2 minutes. Maybe 3. I called 911 first, then You called the police before you called me. Something in his tone made me want to apologize, though I'd done exactly what I was supposed to do. Describe the vehicle. Black panel van, no plates that I could see. The driver wore a ski mask. Did he say anything? Leave anything? Was there anyone else? No, he just grabbed Owen and... The image flashed again. Owen's small hand reaching back toward me. His mouth forming my name. "Mr. Kincaid, the police are here, but I thought you should know immediately," I thought. "Put me on speaker. Don't tell the police I'm on the line." "What?" "I can't." "Do it now, Miss Hartley." I didn't know why I obeyed. Maybe it was the absolute authority in his voice. Maybe it was the barely controlled violence I could hear underneath his words, like a hurricane contained in a phone line. I pressed speaker just as Officer DeMarco walked into the office. "Miss Hartley, we need your statement about..." Through the phone, so quiet the officer didn't hear it, Vincent Kincaid whispered. "Listen very carefully. The men who took my son know you called me. They're watching to see what happens next. Do not tell the police anything about me beyond my name. Do you understand?" As flooded my veins. "I don't understand any of this." "You don't need to. You need to stay alive long enough for me to get there. I'm 6 minutes away. Until then, you're in danger every second you're alone." The officer was looking at me expectantly. Behind her, 2 more uniformed officers were entering the building. "Mr. Kincaid is on the line," I said, my voice hollow. "Owen's father." Officer DeMarco reached for the phone. "Mr. Kincaid, this is Officer DeMarco with the Metro Police. We're going to need you to come down to... I'll be at the school in 5 minutes." Vincent's voice had changed again. Professional. Almost cooperative. "Don't let anyone leave. Especially Miss Hartley." He hung up. The officer looked at me. "Does Owen's father know of anyone who would want to harm his son? Any custody disputes, threats, unusual?" The front doors burst open. I'd expected police backup. More officers. Maybe FBI if this was as serious as the crawling dread in my stomach suggested. I hadn't expected the 4 men in dark suits who moved like predators, their eyes scanning the room with the precision of people trained to identify threats and neutralize them. I definitely hadn't expected Vincent Kincaid. He walked in behind them, and the entire energy of the room shifted. He wasn't particularly tall, maybe just over 6 feet, but he carried himself like he owned every space he entered. Dark hair, sharp jaw, expensive clothes that somehow made everyone else look shabby. But it was his eyes that stopped me cold. Dark, focused, absolutely devoid of anything except lethal purpose. Those eyes found me across the crowded office. He crossed the space in 4 strides. His men forming a perimeter that somehow excluded the police without anyone being touched or spoken to. "Elise Hartley." He said my name like he already knew everything about me. "You saw it happen." Not a question. Up close, I could see the barely controlled panic beneath his composed exterior. The muscle jumping in his jaw. The way his hand flexed once, twice, like he was stopping himself from putting his fist through a wall. I saw a man drag him into a van. I ran but I couldn't. My voice broke. "I'm so sorry. I was watching, I promise I was watching, but he must have gone past the fence line and by the time I realized." "Stop." His voice gentled, which somehow made everything worse. "This isn't your fault. Tell me exactly what you saw." Every detail. So I did. The man in the mask. Owen's backpack on the ground. The direction the van turned. Officer DeMarco stepped forward. Mr. Kincaid, we're going to need to ask you some questions about anyone who might have a grudge against. No. Vincent didn't even look at her. Sir, this is an active investigation. And you're dismissed from it. One of his men, silver-haired and built like he'd retired from breaking bones professionally, pulled out his phone and showed Officer DeMarco something on the screen. Her face went white. I see. Will. Coordinate with your people then. Wait, what? What kind of father shows up to his son's kidnapping and dismisses the police? What kind of phone call makes a cop back down like she'd been slapped? Vincent's attention cut back to me. Did they leave anything? A note, a message. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and every muscle in his body went rigid. Outside. Now. His men moved, creating a wall of bodies between us and everyone else. We walked into the hallway, and Vincent put his phone on speaker. The voice that came through was accented and amused and made my skin crawl. Vincent. Did you get my present? Alexei. The name came out like a death sentence. Where's my son? Oh, he's having a wonderful time. We gave him juice. Some cookies. He keeps asking for Miss Hartley though. Such a sweet child. It would be a shame if something happened to him because his father can't follow simple instructions. Vincent's face could have been carved from stone. What do you want? The same thing I've always wanted. Your head on a plate for what you did to my family. But I'm willing to negotiate. You at the Bridgeport warehouse. Midnight. Come alone and unarmed. And maybe I'll let the boy live. If you hurt him, you'll what? Hunt me down like you hunted Victor. Kill me like you killed Dmitri. The amusement vanished from Alexei's voice, replaced by pure hatred. No, Vincent. Today you don't make threats. Today you beg. Today you suffer like you made me suffer. The line went dead. The silence that followed felt like drowning. Then Vincent turned to the silver-haired man. Marcus. Full mobilization. I want every asset tracking Alexei's network. Check his known locations, his associates, anyone who's ever done business with the Volkov family. Already on it. Marcus was typing rapidly on his phone. Vincent's eyes cut to me, and for the first time, I saw something that might have been regret. Miss Hartley. I'm sorry you're involved in this. Involved in what? The question came out sharper than I intended, powered by fear turning into anger. Who are you? What do you do that someone would kidnap a child for revenge? I'm someone who's made enemies. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting right now. He nodded to Marcus. She comes with us. Excuse me. I took a step back. I'm not going anywhere. I need to give my statement to the police. And I need to stay here for my other students. Your other students are in lockdown with 4 teachers and a police presence. They're safe. Vincent's voice was patient but immovable. You, on the other hand, are not. The police can protect. The police can't protect you from Alexei Volkov. He stepped closer and I forced myself not to retreat. He mentioned you by name. Do you understand what that means? He knows you made the call. He knows your face, probably your address by now, definitely your routine. Your leverage. Which means you're in danger every second you're not under my protection. The crawling dread in my stomach turned to ice. This is insane. I'm a 3rd-grade teacher. I don't belong in whatever world you. No, you don't. Something flickered in his expression. But my son loves you. Talks about you constantly. Has your drawing hung in his bedroom. His jaw tightened. And right now, you're the only person besides me that Owen is asking for. The words hit me like a physical blow. Owen's small voice asking for me while God knows what was happening to him. Then let me help. I straightened my spine, fighting through the terror. You're right. I'm involved. And if Owen's scared if he's asking for me, then I should be there when you find him. This isn't a negotiation. No, it's not. I met his eyes, refusing to flinch despite every instinct screaming at me to run. Alexei mentioned me specifically. That makes me part of this whether either of us likes it. So I can either come with you and be useful, or I can be a distraction you have to protect. Your choice. Marcus made a sound that might have been approval. Vincent studied me for a long moment. His expression unreadable. You have no idea what you're volunteering for. Then tell me. He held my gaze, and I saw him make a decision. I run one of the largest criminal organizations on the East Coast. Protection, acquisitions, conflict resolution. Alexei Volkov runs a rival organization. 2 years ago, his brothers tried to kill me and take my territory. They failed. Now he wants revenge, and he's using my son to get it. The words hung in the air between us. I should have been terrified. Should have run screaming back to the police, to my normal life of spelling tests and parent-teacher conferences. But all I could think about was Owen's drawing on his bedroom wall. Owen, who was quiet and watchful and asked me once if I thought his dad loved him even though he was never around. You're a criminal. Yes. And someone took your son because of what you do. Yes. Took a breath. Then we're wasting time standing here. Let's go get him back. Something shifted in Vincent's expression. Not quite a smile but close. Respect maybe. Or recognition that he'd underestimated me. Marcus. She comes with us. Full protection detail. Wait. I grabbed my purse from the office, ignored Principal Frost's protests, and followed Vincent Kincaid toward the exit. 3 black SUVs were waiting outside, engines running, windows tinted dark enough to hide whoever was inside. As I climbed into the back seat, Vincent beside me and Marcus in front, one thought crystallized with perfect clarity. My name was Elise Hartley, 28 years old, 3rd grade teacher, daughter of 2 accountants. The most dangerous thing I'd ever done was get a speeding ticket. And I just climbed into a car with a Mafia boss who'd casually admitted to killing people. The SUV pulled away from the school. Through the window, I watched my normal life disappear. Vincent was already on his phone, speaking rapid-fire in what sounded like Russian. Marcus was coordinating with someone about sweeping the docks and checking informants. My hands were shaking. I gripped them together to make them stop. Miss Hartley. Vincent had ended his call. His dark eyes studied me. Are you going to pass out? No. Are you going to panic? Already did that. We're past it now. The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Good. Because things are going to get significantly worse before they get better. How much worse? Alexei wants me to walk into a trap at midnight. He's counting on me being desperate enough to do it. Vincent's jaw tightened. Which means we have 8 hours to find Owen before I have to decide between my son's life and walking into my own execution. So we find him first. We're going to try. He pulled up something on his phone. Security footage, it looked like. But Alexei's smart. He'll have moved Owen multiple times by now. Hidden him somewhere we won't think to look. I watched the footage. Warehouse. Figures moving in shadows. Then Vincent closed it, his expression dark. There's something else you should know, he said quietly. Alexei didn't just threaten Owen. He mentioned you specifically. Which means he's been watching the school. Watching Owen. His eyes met mine. Watching you. The ice in my stomach spread to my limbs. Why me? Because he's thorough. He knows Owen's routine. Knows that his father is never at school events, but his teacher is always there. Knows that if he wanted to hurt me. Vincent's voice went hard. He'd take the 2 people my son loves most. The implications settled over me like a weight. I'm bait. You were bait the moment you made that phone call. He leaned back against the seat, and for just a moment, I saw the exhaustion beneath his composure. The fear he was controlling with sheer will. Now you're a liability I can't afford to lose. If Alexei gets his hands on you, he'll use you to force my compliance. Which means you stay with me under guard until this is over. And if we don't find Owen by midnight? Vincent's expression went cold. Me. The look of a man who'd already decided what he was willing to sacrifice. Then I walk into that warehouse and I don't walk out. But Owen does. The certainty in his voice made my throat tight. This was a man who'd kill for his son. Die for him. But underneath that I heard something else. The guilt of a father whose choices had put his child in danger. The weight of knowing that every enemy he'd made, every line he'd crossed, had led to this moment. He asks about you, you know. I didn't know why I said it. Maybe because I needed him to know. Every Monday, he asks if I had a good weekend. Tells me about his week. Never mentions where you are or what you do. But sometimes he draws pictures of the two of you together. Vincent's hand tightened on his phone. He deserves better than me. He deserves his father alive. I met his eyes. So we're going to find him before midnight. Both of you are going to survive this. Understood. For a long moment he just looked at me. Then, so quietly I almost missed it. You're either very brave or very stupid, Miss Hartley. Both, probably. I took a shaky breath. Now tell me everything about Alexei Volkov. If I'm going to help, I need to understand who we're dealing with. Vincent studied me for another beat, then nodded. Alexei Volkov runs the Volkov Syndicate. Arms dealing, human trafficking, drugs. The kind of operation that thrives on fear and brutality. He pulled up a photo on his phone. A man with cold eyes and a cruel smile. 2 years ago, his brothers Victor and Dmitri tried to eliminate me and absorb my territory. It was messy. Messy how? The kind of messy that ends with bodies and a shift in the city's power structure. Vincent's voice was flat. Clinical. Victor died. Dmitri died. Alexei survived and went underground. Until now. And now he wants revenge. Now he wants to watch me suffer before he kills me. Vincent's jaw tightened. Taking Owen isn't just about leverage. It's about making me feel what he felt. The helplessness. The fear. I thought about Owen's face as he was dragged toward that van. The terror in his eyes. Then we don't give him that satisfaction. I surprised myself with the steel in my voice. We find Owen. We end this. And you both survive. Marcus glanced back from the front seat. We're approaching the first location. One of Alexei's old safe houses. Vincent's entire demeanor shifted. The vulnerable father disappeared, replaced by something harder, colder. Rules, Miss Hartley. You stay in the vehicle. You don't leave Marcus's sight. If shooting starts, you get on the floor and you stay there. Clear. Crystal. The SUV pulled to a stop in front of an abandoned building in a part of the city I'd never seen before. Boarded windows. Graffiti-covered walls. The kind of place where bad things happened and no one asked questions. Vincent stepped out, and 4 more men materialized from the other vehicles. They moved with military precision, weapons appearing from beneath their jackets. I watched through the tinted window as they entered the building. He's good at this, Marcus said quietly. Not looking at me. Protecting people. Even when it costs him. How long have you worked for him? 15 years. Since before Owen was born. Marcus's expression softened slightly. Vincent's made mistakes. Done things he's not proud of. But everything he does, every choice he makes, it's for that boy. Then where's Owen's mother? Marcus's expression shuttered. That's not my story to tell. But she's not in the picture. Never has been really. It's just Vincent and Owen. Through the window, I saw Vincent emerge from the building. His expression dark. He shook his head. Me. He climbed back into the SUV, and I saw the tension in his shoulders. The desperation he was fighting to control. Next location, he told Marcus. Then to me. This is going to be a long night, Miss Hartley. If you need to back out. I don't. He studied me again, and I wondered what he saw. A sheltered teacher way out of her depth. A liability. Complication. Owen was right about you, he said finally. Right about what? He told me you were brave. That you stood up to a parent who was yelling at another student. That you didn't back down even when the parent threatened to get you fired. A ghost of a smile. He was very impressed. Despite everything, I felt warmth spread through my chest. Owen's easy to be brave for. He's special. Yes, he is. Vincent's expression went distant. Which is why I will burn this entire city to ash if that's what it takes to get him back. The certainty in his voice should have terrified me. Instead, it made me realize something. I believed him. And more than that, I was starting to understand him. Vincent Kincaid was a criminal. Killer, probably. A man who operated in shadows and violence. But he was also a father who loved his son so fiercely it had become his entire world. And somehow, in the space of 30 minutes, I'd gone from a teacher making a panicked phone call to a woman sitting beside a mafia boss, hunting through the city's underbelly for a kidnapped child. My normal life had ended the moment I dialed Vincent Kincaid's number. Now I just had to survive long enough to see if I'd made the right choice. Hey there, my wonderful friend. How's your day going? I know we just dropped right into chaos, but I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Let me know your thoughts as we continue this story together. The second location was a strip club in the warehouse district. Closed at this hour, but Vincent had keys. Alexei used to launder money through here, he explained as we pulled up. Before I shut him down. This time he didn't tell me to stay in the car. You're coming inside. I want you to see something. Marcus tensed. Vincent, that's not. She needs to understand what we're dealing with. The interior smelled like stale beer and cheap perfume. Vincent led me past the main floor to a back office. He opened a laptop on the desk, typed in a password, and pulled up security footage. This is from 3 hours ago. Before the kidnapping. The screen showed Owen's school, playground, and a man in a maintenance uniform standing by the fence, watching my students, watching Owen. My stomach turned. He was there all morning, casing the location, timing the pickup, waiting for the moment you'd be distracted. Vincent's voice was tight. This wasn't impulsive. Alexei planned every detail. He clicked to another feed. The street outside my apartment building. Car parked across the street. The same car that had been there for 3 days. You've been followed since Tuesday. The room tilted. Why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't you? Because I didn't know until 20 minutes ago. His jaw clenched. I don't monitor Owen's teacher. I should have. That's on me. The admission surprised me. Vincent Kincaid didn't seem like a man who admitted mistakes. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Got something. One of our informants says the Volkov crew was asking about refrigerated trucks yesterday. Rental place on the South Docks. Vincent was already moving. Let's go. Back in the SUV, Vincent made a call. Sophia. I need everything you have on Alexei's current operations. Financials, properties, shell companies. Everything. A woman's voice came through, sharp and efficient. Already compiling. Vincent, I'm sorry about Owen. Whatever you need. I need locations. He's got to be holding him somewhere off-grid. Somewhere we wouldn't think to look. I'll dig deeper. Give me 30 minutes. Vincent hung up and glanced at me. Sophia runs my intelligence operations. If there's information to find, she'll find it. How many people work for you? Enough. He didn't elaborate. Most of them have families. Children. They understand what's at stake. The SUV wove through traffic, Marcus driving with controlled urgency. My phone buzzed. A text from Principal Frost. Asterisk, are you okay? Police are asking questions. Should I be worried? Asterisk. I stared at the message. What was I supposed to say? I'm fine, just helping a mafia boss hunt down the gang that kidnapped his son. Vincent noticed. You can answer her. Tell her you're helping with the investigation and you're safe. Am I safe? His eyes met mine. As long as you're with me, yes. I typed out a vague response and pocketed my phone. Through the window, the city looked different now. Every car could be a threat. Every shadow could hide danger. Tell me about Owen's mother. Vincent's expression closed off. That's not relevant. It might be. Does Alexei know about her? Could he use her for? She's not in the picture. Never has been. His tone said the subject was closed. Owen's had me and Marcus and a rotating nanny staff. That's it. And me, apparently. Something softened in his face. You're the first person outside our world that he's connected with. The first normal thing in his life. He paused. I was grateful for that. Now I'm realizing I put you in danger just by letting him care about you. That's not how caring works. You don't get to control who matters to people. In my world, everyone who matters becomes a target. The docks appeared ahead. Industrial buildings, shipping containers stacked like building blocks, the smell of salt water and rust. Marcus pulled to a stop near a rental office. Vincent and two of his men went inside. Through the window, I watched him show the clerk something on his phone. The clerk's face went pale. He started typing frantically on his computer. Vincent returned with a piece of paper. Got an address. Refrigerated truck rented yesterday under a shell company linked to Volkov Finances. He showed Marcus. Abandoned meat packing plant. 20 minutes from here. Hope flickered in my chest. You think he's there? I think it's worth checking. But his expression was guarded. Too guarded. We drove in silence. The neighborhoods got worse, buildings more decrepit. Finally, we pulled up to a sprawling industrial complex. Half the buildings collapsed, the rest tagged with graffiti. This time Vincent handed me something. Phone. It's encrypted. If something happens if we don't come out, you press the red button. Call Sophia. She'll get you somewhere safe. Nothing's going to happen. Probably not. He checked his weapon, the movement casual and practiced. But in my world, we plan for the worst. He stepped out. I watched through the window as his team split up, covering entrances with military precision. They disappeared into the building. Marcus stayed with me, engine running, eyes scanning constantly. He cares about Owen more than anything, Marcus said quietly. But he's terrified of being a father. Terrified he'll damage that boy just by being who he is. He seems like a good father to me. He tries. But he carries a lot of guilt. Marcus glanced back at me. Owen's mother left when the boy was 6 months old. Couldn't handle Vincent's world. Didn't want any part of it. Vincent's been trying to make up for that ever since. The pieces clicked together. A single father in a violent world, trying to protect his son while knowing his very existence put the boy in danger. Gunshots cracked through the air. My heart stopped. Marcus grabbed his radio. Report. Static. Then Vincent's voice, calm and controlled. Buildings clear. No hostages. But there's evidence they were here. Recently. He emerged from the building, his expression dark. In his hand was something small. Blue. Owen's inhaler. Vincent climbed back into the SUV. And I saw the crack in his composure. The fear bleeding through. He was here. Within the last few hours. His hand tightened around the inhaler. Which means Alexei's moving him. Keeping him ahead of us. Then we keep looking. We're running out of time. Vincent checked his watch. 6 hours until midnight. Alexei's not going to let us find Owen before then. This whole thing is designed to make me desperate. Make me comply. So what do we do? Vincent's phone rang. He answered. Sophia. Her voice came through the speaker, tense. I found something. Alexei purchased a property 8 months ago under a dummy corporation. Private estate 40 minutes outside the city. Off-grid, heavily secured. Send me the coordinates. Vincent, it's a fortress. You can't just walk in there. Watch me. He hung up and looked at Marcus. Get us there. Fast. As we pulled away from the packing plant, Vincent finally looked at me. really looked at me. You've held up better than I expected. I'm terrified. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. He pocketed Owen's inhaler carefully. But you're still here. Most people would have run by now. Owen needs me to be here. Is that the only reason? Question hung between us. I didn't have an answer. Or maybe I did, but I wasn't ready to examine it. Because somewhere in the last 2 hours, this had stopped being just about Owen. It had become about the man beside me. The father willing to die for his son. The criminal with surprising moments of vulnerability. I barely knew Vincent Kincaid. Didn't understand his world. Couldn't reconcile the violence with the gentleness I'd glimpsed. But I was starting to see why Owen loved him. And that terrified me more than anything else today. The estate sat behind 12-foot walls, surveillance cameras every 20 feet, guards patrolling with automatic weapons. That's not a house, I whispered. That's a compound. Vincent studied it through binoculars. Sophia was right. He's dug in deep. We'd parked a quarter-mile away, hidden in a grove of trees. Vincent's team had spread out, scouting perimeter weaknesses. Marcus was monitoring radio chatter. 2 guards at the main gate for roaming the grounds, unknown number inside, Marcus reported. This is a hard target, Vincent. Then we make it soft. Vincent lowered the binoculars. Marcus, I need a distraction. Something loud on the east side. Draw them away from the main house. What are you planning? I'm going in through the north wall. There's a gap in camera coverage near the service entrance. He checked his weapon. Give me 10 minutes. That's a suicide run. It's the only run we have. Vincent glanced at me. Miss Hartley stays here with 2 guards. If this goes wrong, I'm coming with you. Both men stared at me. Absolutely not, Vincent said. You said Alexei knows my face. Knows I matter to Owen. I kept my voice steady despite my hammering heart. If he sees me, he might think you're complying. Coming to negotiate. It could buy you time. Or get you killed. Everything today could get me killed. I met his eyes. But if there's a chance Owen sees me and knows help is coming, if there's a chance my presence keeps Alexei talking instead of shooting, then I'm an asset. Use me. Vincent studied me for a long moment. I saw the calculation happening behind his eyes. The cold tactical assessment. You follow my exact instructions. You stay behind me. You don't speak unless I tell you to. Agreed. Marcus muttered something under his breath that sounded like a prayer. 10 minutes later, an explosion rocked the east side of the compound. Guards shouted, running toward the flames. Vincent moved and I followed. We slipped through shadows, keeping low. He moved with absolute certainty, every step calculated. At the north wall, he produced a small device, pressed it against the electronic lock. The gate clicked open. Inside, the estate was grotesquely beautiful. Manicured gardens, marble fountains, old money architecture hiding New World violence. Vincent's hand came up. Ahead, a guard rounded the corner. Vincent moved so fast I barely saw it. One moment the guard was walking, the next he was unconscious on the ground, Vincent lowering him silently. How did you? Not now. We reached a side entrance. Vincent tried the door. Unlock. Too easy. It's a trap, I whispered. I know. He pushed it open anyway. But Owen's inside. The interior was dark, expensive. Abstract art on the walls. The kind of place that looked respectable on the surface while hiding rot underneath. A voice echoed from deeper in the house. I was wondering when you'd arrive, Vincent. Alexei Volkov stepped into view at the end of the hallway. 50s, gray-streaked hair, cold eyes. Behind him 2 men with guns. And between them Owen. My heart shattered. He looked so small, so scared. His eyes were red from crying. When he saw me, his face crumpled. Miss Hartley. Don't speak, boy. Alexei's hand rested on Owen's shoulder. Not quite gentle. A threat disguised as comfort. Vincent's entire body had gone rigid. Let him go, Alexei. This is between us. Oh, but it stopped being just between us when you killed my brothers. When you destroyed my family. Alexei's smile was razor-sharp. Now you understand how it feels. The helplessness. Watching someone you love in danger and being powerless to stop it. Your brothers tried to kill me first. Tried to take everything I'd built. 'Cause you were weak. A criminal who pretended to have morals. Alexei's voice dripped contempt. Victor saw the truth. You can't operate in our world with one foot in respectability. You can't be a monster and a father. Eventually you have to choose. I chose. Vincent's voice was steel. I chose my son. And I'll kill anyone who threatens him. Brave words from a man with no leverage. Alexei gestured, and one of his men pressed a gun to Owen's head. Owen whimpered. I took an involuntary step forward before Vincent's arm blocked me. What do you want? Vincent asked. I told you. Midnight. You, unarmed, at the Bridgeport warehouse. Alexei's smile widened. I'm a man of my word, Vincent. Show up, submit to justice for what you did to my family, and the boy lives. Don't and. He shrugged. Children are fragile things. Let me see him. Let me talk to him. No. Alexei pulled Owen closer. But I'll let you see he's unharmed. Now. Consider it motivation. Vincent's hand found mine. Squeezed once. Message, stay calm. Owen, Vincent called out. Are you hurt? Owen shook his head, tears streaming down his face. Dad, I'm scared. The crack in Vincent's voice was almost imperceptible. I know, buddy. But I'm going to fix this. I promise. Touching. Alexei checked his watch. You have 4 hours, Vincent. I suggest you spend them getting your affairs in order. Say goodbye to your empire. Your people. Your pretty teacher. His eyes cut to me, and I felt the weight of his attention like a physical thing. You're brave, Miss Hartley. Coming here. Stepping into our world. He tilted his head. Or perhaps just foolish. Tell me, do you know what Vincent does? The things he's done to build his little kingdom. That's enough, Vincent said. Does she know about the Marconi family? How you eliminated them when they wouldn't sell their territory? All 7 members, including the teenage sons. As flooded my veins. I looked at Vincent. His expression was stone. Does she know about the judge you blackmailed? The politician you bought? The people who've disappeared because they crossed you? Alexei's smile was poison. He hasn't told you, has he? The monster you're standing beside. I know enough, I said, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. I know he loves his son. I know he's trying to save him. How noble. And when this is over, when you've seen what he's really capable of, will you still look at him like that? Alexei laughed. Enjoy your last 4 hours together. They'll be your last moments before reality destroys whatever fantasy you're building. He stepped back into the shadows, pulling Owen with him. Owen's hand reached toward me before he disappeared. The silence that followed felt suffocating. Vincent's hand was still holding mine. I realized I was shaking. We need to leave, he said quietly. Now. We retreated the way we came. Outside, Marcus was waiting with the vehicles. I heard everything on comms, Marcus said grimly. What's the play? Vincent stood there, jaw clenched, eyes distant. For the first time since this started, I saw real desperation in his expression. I don't have one. Alexei knows I'll walk into that warehouse. Knows I'll die for Owen. He looked at me. And he's right. I will. No. The word came out sharper than I intended. There has to be another way. We have 4 hours. We can. Can what? Storm a fortress. Alexei has the advantage. He has my son. Vincent's voice cracked. I'm out of options, Miss Hartley. Then we make new options. Something in my tone made him look at me differently. Reassessing. Alexei wanted me to see the monster you are, I continued. Wanted me to run scared. But here's what I actually saw. A father who's walked into hell to save his son. A man who's made terrible choices but is trying to protect the one thing that matters. You don't know what I've done. No. But I know what you're doing right now. I stepped closer. And I'm not running. So stop planning your noble sacrifice and start planning how we're both going to save Owen and survive. Marcus made a sound that might have been approval. She's got a point. Vincent stared at me for a long moment. Then something shifted in his expression. The resignation faded, replaced by something harder. More dangerous. All right, Miss Hartley. You want to play this game. A cold smile touched his lips. Then let's play to win. He pulled out his phone. Sophia. I need everything. Every favor I'm owed, every asset I have, every person who owes me their life. Call them all in. Sophia's voice came through, fierce and ready. What are we doing? Vincent's eyes met mine, and I saw the monster Alexei had talked about. The ruthless strategist. The man who'd built an empire on calculated violence. We're going to war. Vincent's safe house was nothing like I expected. Not a warehouse or abandoned building, but a brownstone in a quiet residential neighborhood. The kind of place you'd walk past without a second glance. Inside was different. Monitors covering one wall, showing security feeds from across the city. An arsenal of weapons in a locked cabinet. And a war room table where Vincent's people were gathering. Sophia arrived first. 30s, sharp-featured, with eyes that catalogued everything. She nodded at Vincent, then studied me. The teacher. Elise Hartley, I said. Sophia Chen. She caught Vincent's look. What? It's my real name. 3 more people filed in. A man with scars crossing his face. A woman who moved like a dancer but had the eyes of a killer. A tech specialist who immediately started typing on multiple laptops. This is everyone I trust completely, Vincent said. Everyone else is being kept in the dark until we move. Smart, Sophia said. Alexei has informants everywhere. The fewer people who know the real plan, the better. What is the real plan? Asked. Vincent pulled up a blueprint on the main monitor. The Bridgeport warehouse where Alexei wanted him to surrender. Alexei expects me to walk in alone at midnight. Unarmed. Defeated. Vincent's finger traced the building's layout. He'll have men positioned here, here, and here. Sniper on the roof. His best people because he knows this is his one chance to kill me. So we don't give him that chance, Sophia said. We hit the compound instead. While he's at the warehouse waiting for you, we extract Owen. He'll have thought of that. He'll leave heavy security at the estate. Vincent zoomed in on the compound we'd just left. But he'll also split his forces. That's our window. The scarred man leaned forward. We go in with everything. Full assault. Overwhelm them before they can respond. Too risky, the woman said. Owen could get caught in crossfire. We need precision, not firepower. We need both, Vincent said. Sophia, I need you running intelligence. Real-time updates on Alexei's movements. The second he leaves that compound for the warehouse, I want to know. Sophia nodded, already typing. Dominic, Vincent addressed the scarred man. You lead the assault team. 10 of our best. You breach the compound exactly 17 minutes after Alexei leaves. That's how long it takes him to get to the warehouse. Long enough that his remaining guards won't call him back. Short enough that he hasn't executed me yet. And you? Dominic asked. I'm keeping my appointment. Vincent's expression was granite. I show up at the warehouse. Give Alexei what he wants. Keep him focused on me while you get Owen out. That's suicide, I said. Everyone turned to look at me. I'd been silent until now, listening, trying to understand their world. But this was insane. Alexei wants to kill you, I continued. You walk in there, he wins. He wins if Owen dies, Vincent said quietly. This way, Owen lives. That's all that matters. No. I stood up, surprising myself. You both live. That's what matters. Owen doesn't just need rescue, he needs his father. So stop planning to die and start planning to survive. Sophia's lips twitched. Almost a smile. I like her. Vincent rubbed his face, exhaustion finally showing. Miss Hartley. Elise. If I'm part of this war council, call me Elise. His eyes met mine and something passed between us. Understanding maybe. Or recognition that we'd crossed some invisible line. Elise. The math is simple. Alexei has superior position, superior numbers, and my son. The only leverage I have is my life. I trade it for Owen's. What if there was another option? The woman spoke up. What if we make Alexei think he's won, but we control the game? Vincent turned to her. Explain. Alexei wants you humiliated, broken. He wants you to beg before he kills you. She pulled up a schematic. What if you give him that performance? You go to the warehouse, you play defeated, you buy time. Meanwhile, we're not just extracting Owen, we're setting a trap of our own. He'll have countermeasures, Sophia said. Explosives, probably. Rigged to blow if we breach wrong. Then we don't breach. We infiltrate. The tech specialist looked up from his laptop. I can loop their security feeds. Make it look like nothing's happening while we move through blind spots. Vincent studied the plans, and I watched the strategist take over. This was his element. War and tactics and calculated risks. It could work, he said slowly. But timing has to be perfect. One mistake and Alexei either kills Owen or kills me or both. So we don't make mistakes, Dominic said. Vincent looked around the table. His people. His family in a way. Then his eyes found mine. You should leave. Before this gets worse. No. Elise. I told you. I'm seeing this through. I crossed my arms. Besides, Alexei knows my face. Knows I matter to Owen. Maybe I'm part of the play too. Absolutely not. Why not? You're using yourself as bait. Why can't I do the same? Because you're not trained for this. You're a civilian. So is Owen. But he's trapped in this anyway. I leaned forward. Alexei wanted to show me the monster you are. Wanted me scared. What if instead I show up at that warehouse with you? Show him I'm not afraid. Might throw him off balance. Make him focus on me instead of whatever trap he's planning. Sophia was nodding slowly. It's actually not a bad idea. Alexei's ego is his weakness. He wants an audience for Vincent's destruction. Having the teacher there, the symbol of Vincent's attempt at normalcy, that feeds his narrative. It also puts her in direct danger, Vincent said sharply. I'm already in direct danger. You said so yourself. I held his gaze. Let me help. Really help. Not just sit in a car waiting. The room fell silent. Vincent stared at me, and I saw the war happening behind his eyes. The need to protect versus the tactical advantage I represented. Finally he nodded. You stay next to me at all times. You don't improvise. You follow my lead exactly. Agreed. Then we have a plan. Vincent checked his watch. 3 hours until midnight. Sophia, I need updates every 10 minutes. Dominic, prep your team. Full tactical gear but suppressed weapons. This needs to be surgical. Everyone moved, the energy shifting from planning to execution. I stood there feeling the weight of what I'd just volunteered for. Vincent touched my elbow. A word. Alone. We walked to a smaller room. Study barely furnished. He closed the door and turned to face me. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Why? The question was genuine. This isn't your world. These aren't your problems. You could walk away right now and no one would blame you. Owen would. I met his eyes. He'd wonder why I didn't help. Why I let him down. He's 8. He'd understand. Maybe. But I wouldn't. Took a breath. I became a teacher because I wanted to protect kids. Keep them safe. Help them grow. And the first time I really needed to protect one of them, I failed. I watched him get taken and I couldn't stop it. That wasn't your fault. Doesn't matter. It happened on my watch. My voice cracked. So yes, I'm going to that warehouse. I'm going to help get him back. 'Cause that's what you do for kids you care about. You show up. Even when it's terrifying. Vincent stared at me for a long moment. Then quietly. He's lucky to have you. He's lucky to have you too. You just don't see it yet. Something shifted in his expression. Vulnerable. I've made so many mistakes. Done things I can't take back. Sometimes I think he'd be better off without me. Safer at least. That's not how love works. Kids don't want perfect parents. They want present ones. I stepped closer. Owen knows you love him. Knows you're trying. That's what matters. Even if trying means he's in danger. Even if my world is what put him here. Your world is also what's going to save him. I touched his arm. You're not doing this alone anymore, Vincent. Let me carry some of it. He looked down at where my hand rested on his arm. When he looked back up, something had changed in his eyes. Not just gratitude. Something deeper. When this is over, he said quietly, I'm getting out. Taking Owen somewhere safe. Starting over. Where? I don't know yet. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere he can be a normal kid. A ghost of a smile. Maybe somewhere with good schools. Good teachers. The moment stretched between us, charged with things neither of us was ready to say. A knock on the door shattered it. Sophia stuck her head in. We have movement. Alexei's mobilizing. Looks like he's preparing to head to the warehouse early. Vincent's entire demeanor shifted. The vulnerable father disappeared, replaced by the strategist. How early? Maybe an hour. He's not waiting until midnight. He's trying to catch us off guard. Vincent was already moving. Everyone mobilizes now. We move up the timeline. Back in the war room, chaos had organized into precision. Dominic's team was gearing up. The tech specialist had multiple feeds running. Sophia was coordinating with people I couldn't see. Vincent pulled on a Kevlar vest, then handed me one. Put this on. I did, my hand shaking slightly. The weight of it made everything real. This wasn't planning anymore. This was happening. Vincent's phone buzzed. He looked at it and his face went carefully blank. I need to take this. Privately. He stepped into the hallway. Through the door I heard his voice, low and tense. I couldn't make out words, but the tone was wrong. Defensive. When he came back, his expression was unreadable. Change of plans. We have new intelligence on the compound's security. I need to coordinate with an outside asset. Sophia frowned. What asset? We didn't discuss. It's handled. Vincent's voice was sharp. Trust me. Something in the room shifted. A tension that hadn't been there before. Sophia and Dominic exchanged a look. Vincent, Sophia said carefully. Who did you just talk to? Someone who can help. He wasn't meeting her eyes. That's all you need to know. That's not how we work. We don't bring in outsiders without vetting. And we don't question my judgment. Vincent's voice went cold. I'm running this operation. You follow my lead or you leave. The silence that followed felt dangerous. I watched Sophia's face close off, watched Dominic's hand drift toward his weapon. Fine, Sophia said quietly. Your call. But her eyes said something else entirely. They said, I don't trust this. Vincent turned to me. We leave in 20 minutes. Stay close to Marcus until then. He walked away, phone to his ear again, voice too low to hear. Marcus appeared at my elbow. Come on. Let's get you ready. I followed him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had just gone very wrong. In the armory, Marcus handed me an earpiece. This keeps you connected to the team. You'll hear everything we say. Marcus kept my voice low. That phone call. You heard it. His expression was carefully neutral. Wasn't my business to hear. But you did. He hesitated. Vincent's under pressure. Making decisions he normally wouldn't make. Who did he call? I don't know. But Sophia's right to be concerned. This whole thing feels wrong. He met my eyes. Be careful in that warehouse, Miss Hartley. Trust Vincent, but watch your back. Sometimes the people we think we know best are the ones hiding the deepest secrets. The words settled in my stomach like lead. 20 minutes later, we loaded into the SUVs. Vincent sat beside me, silent and tense. The easy connection we'd had earlier was gone, replaced by distance. Vincent, I said quietly, is everything all right? It will be. Once Owen's safe. But he still wouldn't meet my eyes. The warehouse district appeared ahead. Industrial buildings silhouetted against the night sky. The Bridgeport warehouse sat in the center, dark and waiting. Vincent's phone buzzed again. He read the message and his jaw tightened. There's been a complication. What kind of complication? Sophia demanded through the comm. The kind where we don't have a choice anymore. Vincent looked at me, and I saw genuine regret in his eyes. I'm sorry, Elise. I didn't want it to happen this way. Before I could ask what he meant, the SUV screeched to a stop. The doors flew open. Men in tactical gear surrounded us. Not Vincent's men. Others. And standing in the center of them, smiling, was Alexei Volkov. Hello, Vincent. Thank you for making this so easy. I looked at Vincent, waiting for him to react. Fight. Instead, he stepped out of the SUV with his hands raised. I kept my end of the bargain, he said. Let my son go. Alexei laughed. Oh, Vincent. Did you really think I'd honor a deal with you? He gestured, and his men dragged someone forward. Owen. Crying, terrified but alive. Dad. It's okay, buddy, Vincent said, his voice breaking. It's going to be okay. Yes, Alexei purred. It will be. Once I've killed you both. Father and son. Justice for what you did to my family. And then I understood. I wouldn't do that. Vincent hadn't been making Sophia's
a plan
voice to save came Owen.
through speakers I hadn't noticed.
He'd been making a deal to trade
both their lives.
Snipers on 3 rooftops. Assault team at every entrance. You so much as twitch wrong and you're dead. Alexei froze. His men shifted, uncertain. Impossible. I have countermeasures. Had countermeasures, the tech specialist's voice corrected. We've been looping your feeds for 20 minutes. You've been blind this whole time. Vincent's head snapped up, shock on his face. Sophia. Did you really think we'd let you sacrifice yourself? Sophia sounded offended. We've been with you for 15 years, Vincent. We know how you think. So while you were making your martyr plan, we were making a real one. Dominic's voice came through next. Teams in position. Awaiting your order, boss. Vincent stared at the speaker, then at me. You knew. No. But I hoped. I managed a smile despite the gun still pointed at me. You're not the only one who knows how to plan. Alexei's face contorted with rage. You think this changes anything? I still have hostages. You breach and they die. Then don't make us breach. Vincent stood slowly, carefully. It's over, Alexei. You lost. Let Owen and Elise walk out of here and maybe you survive this. Never. Alexei grabbed Owen, pressed the gun to his head. Nobody moves or the boy. The gunshot cracked through the warehouse. Alexei stumbled back, a red bloom spreading across his shoulder. His gun clattered to the floor. Owen ran. I caught him, pulled him behind me as chaos erupted. Vincent's team breached from 3 directions. Flashbangs. Smoke. Gunfire. I covered Owen's body with mine, pressed against a concrete pillar, praying. It lasted maybe 30 seconds. When the smoke cleared, Alexei's men were on the ground, disarmed or dead. Alexei himself was being zip-tied by Dominic, blood streaming from his shoulder. Vincent appeared through the smoke like an avenging angel. His eyes found mine, found Owen. Are you hurt? I shook my head, unable to speak. Owen broke away from me and ran to his father. Vincent caught him, dropped to his knees, and held his son like he'd never let go. His shoulders shook. The sobs coming from him were raw, broken, human. I'm sorry, he whispered into Owen's hair. I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry. It's okay, Dad. Owen was crying too. You came. You saved me. We saved you, Vincent corrected, looking at me over Owen's head. We all did. Sophia approached, surveyed the scene, then looked at Vincent. You're an idiot. I know. You tried to cut us out. Make decisions alone. I know. If Miss Hartley hadn't stalled him, if she hadn't kept everyone talking long enough for us to get into position. Sophia shook her head. You'd be dead. Vincent stood, Owen still clinging to him, and walked to where I stood. Up close I could see the exhaustion, the relief, the guilt. Thank you, he said quietly, for not giving up on me. On us. Someone had to keep you alive. My voice shook. Since you seemed determined to die. I thought it was the only way. I know. I reached out, touched his arm. But you're worth more alive than dead, Vincent Kincaid. And the sooner you believe that, the better father you'll be. He stared at me, and I saw the moment something shifted. The belief that had driven him for so long cracking, letting light through. I want to be better, he whispered. For him. I want to be the father he deserves. Then start by staying alive. I managed a smile. Everything else we can figure out. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Real police this time, not the ones on Vincent's payroll. Sophia touched Vincent's shoulder. We need to leave. Before this gets complicated. Vincent nodded, but his eyes stayed on me. Come with us. Vincent. Please. We're not finished. This isn't over. He was right. Whatever this was between us, whatever had formed in the crucible of the last 6 hours, it wasn't over. It was just beginning. 3 weeks later, I stood at my classroom door watching students filter in for morning announcements. 22 faces. 22 students. All accounted for. Owen Hale walked in last. His backpack bouncing against his shoulders. When he saw me, he smiled. Not the cautious, guarded smile from before. Real one. Morning, Miss Hartley. Morning, Owen. How was your weekend? Good. Dad took me to the Science Museum. We stayed until they closed. Pride filled his voice. He said we could go back next weekend too. That sounds wonderful. Owen hesitated at his desk. He wants to know if you'd come to dinner. Tonight. If you're free. 22 pairs of eyes swiveled to me. I felt my cheeks heat. Tell your dad I'll think about it. He said you'd say that. Owen grinned. He also said to tell you he's not taking no for an answer. The other students giggled. I shooed them to their seats, fighting a smile. The last 3 weeks had been complicated. Police interviews. Media coverage of Alexei Volkov's arrest. Questions I couldn't fully answer about why I'd been at that warehouse. Principal Frost had been understanding but concerned. Elise, you went through something traumatic. Maybe you should take time off. But I'd needed normal. Needed the routine of spelling tests and recess duty and parent conferences. Needed to remember who I was before Vincent Kincaid's world had collided with mine. Owen had returned to school after a week. Quieter at first, clingy, but slowly returning to himself. Therapy was helping. So was having his father actually present. Vincent had shown up to every school event since. Parent-teacher conference. Science fair. Even recess duty when I'd mentioned we were short volunteers. The other mothers had noticed. Hard not to notice a man like Vincent Kincaid standing on the playground, looking completely out of place in his expensive clothes but trying so hard to fit in. Is that Owen's father? One had whispered. I heard he's some kind of businessman. I heard he's very single. I'd ignored them. Ignored the way my heart jumped every time I saw him. Ignored the memory of his hand holding mine in that SUV. The way he'd looked at me in the warehouse. We'd barely spoken since that night. A few text messages coordinating Owen's return to school. One phone call where he'd thanked me again. His voice formal and distant. I told myself it was better this way. Clean break. Back to normal. But normal felt hollow now. Like I'd tasted something real and everything else was just pretend. The school day passed in its usual rhythm. Math lessons. Reading groups. A minor crisis when 2 students fought over the class hamster. At 3 o'clock, parents arrived for pickup. Vincent was early, leaning against a black sedan that was significantly less intimidating than the SUVs. He'd traded the suit for jeans and a simple shirt. He looked good. Relaxed in a way I hadn't seen before. Owen ran to him, and Vincent caught him easily, ruffling his hair. They talked for a moment, then both looked toward where I stood by the door. Vincent said something. Owen nodded enthusiastically. They walked over together. "Miss Hartley." Vincent's voice was careful, polite, like we were strangers. Owen mentioned the dinner invitation. He did. "I understand if you're not comfortable." "I'm comfortable." The words came out before I could reconsider. "What time?" Surprise flickered across his face. 7. "I'll send a car. I can drive myself."